There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that hits people around the holidays, not the kind that comes from doing too much, but the kind that comes from never knowing when you've done enough. It's the exhaustion that builds when you live every day without a finish line. When the work expands to fill every hour, when your brain refuses to rest because you never told it when to stop, that's the danger of living without definition. If you never define done, you can never feel done. And if you never feel done, you will work yourself into the ground, especially during the holidays. The holidays are supposed to be a season of warmth, reflection, connection, and presence. But for far too many people, it becomes a season of guilt, a season where you try to relax but feel like you're falling behind. A season where your mind keeps whispering, you didn't do enough. You should be working. You should be catching up. You should be planning. You should be busy. But busy is not the same as productive, and movement is not the same as progress, and burnout is not the same as dedication. You need to hear this. It is okay to rest. It is necessary to rest. And rest is not the reward for finishing. Rest is part of the work. People burn out not because they are weak, but because they've never created a clear boundary between work and done, between effort and enough, between I'm trying and I'm finished for today. Those definitions matter because without them, your brain stays on a loop, reviewing what you didn't finish, scanning for what you forgot, replaying what still needs to be done. You don't rest because your mind hasn't been told it can. To rest, you must define what done looks like. Not someday, not eventually, not when everything is perfect, but daily, clearly, specifically, because the truth is, without a finish line, your work will go on forever. The emails won't stop coming. The ideas won't stop forming. The tasks won't stop multiplying. The world won't stop asking for more. And if you don't set a boundary, especially during the holidays, life will quietly take from you the one thing you need most: time. Time with your family, time with yourself, time with the people you love, time to breathe, time to reflect, time to be human again. You deserve to experience the holidays, not survive them. You deserve to be present, not preoccupied. You deserve to feel joy, not guilt. But presence requires space. Joy requires margin. Peace requires permission. And permission requires you to define what done means. Define what's enough for today. Define what can wait. Define what matters. Define what doesn't. Define the boundary between who you are as a professional and who you are as a person. Without definition, your brain stays in survival mode. With definition, your soul gets to rest. People say, I'll rest when things slow down. But slowing down is not something that happens to you. It's something you choose. And the holidays offer you that choice in a way no other season does. A chance to step out of the pace, a chance to pause the pressure, a chance to reconnect to the moments you usually rush past. This season is not just a break, it's a reset. A reset for your expectations, a reset for your pace, a reset for your priorities, a reset for your relationship with work. But you can't reset what you haven't defined. You can't rest where you haven't created boundaries. You can't feel finished when you never decided what finishing looks like. So before the season slips by, before the new year demands more of you, before you push yourself into another cycle of doing without pausing, ask yourself, what does done look like for me today? Not perfect, not everything, not unrealistic expectations, but just done, defined, clear, simple, human. This is where the next part of your life begins, not with more grinding, but with more grounding. Rest is not the opposite of success. Rest is the strategy that sustains success, and defining done is what gives rest permission to enter your life again. Most people don't realize how deeply their nervous system depends on closure. Your mind needs signals, your body needs boundaries, your spirit needs separation between effort and enough. When you don't define done, your brain stays in an open loop. Open loops drain you. Open loops stress you. Open loops convince you that you're always behind, even when you're doing everything you possibly can. And here's the dangerous part. When you never feel done, you never feel like you deserve rest. You sit in a room with people you love, but your mind is running through undone tasks. You try to relax, but you feel anxious. You take a break, but you don't feel peaceful. Your body is resting, but your mind is still at work. That is the symptom of a life without definition. The holidays amplify that feeling because the world slows down, but your mind doesn't. Life gets quieter, but your guilt gets louder. People start connecting, but you're still mentally checking your list. And all of this happens because your internal system has never been shown how to stop, not slow down, not pause out of exhaustion, not collapse at the end of the year, but stop intentionally, peacefully, confidently. So let's talk about that. Stopping is a skill, and most people never learned it. You learned how to work. You learned how to grind. You learned how to push. You learned how to keep going even when you're tired. You learned that productivity equals worth. You learned that being busy means being valuable. But no one ever taught you how to stop, how to close the loop, how to say, I'm done for today and that's enough. Stopping is not the same as quitting. Stopping is not laziness. Stopping is not weakness. Stopping is a form of self respect. Stopping says, my value does not depend on endless effort. My peace matters. My presence matters. My rest is productive. My worth is not tied to how much I accomplish. When you don't define done, you will always feel the need to keep going because your brain interprets unfinished as unsafe. It keeps working, it keeps scanning, it keeps worrying, not because you are behind, but because you haven't given your mind a finish line. And this is why the holidays feel overwhelming for people who hustle. You can't enjoy rest if you don't believe you're allowed to rest. You can't feel peace if you think peace must be earned. You can't be present if you think presence is a privilege. The truth is, you don't owe the world burnout to prove your dedication. You don't owe your goals exhaustion to prove your commitment. You don't owe your work every hour of your day to prove your worth. And you don't need to do everything to be allowed to rest during the holidays. Rest is a right, not a reward. Rest is part of growth. Rest is part of healing. Rest is part of becoming. Rest is part of clarity. Rest is part of creativity. Rest is part of health. And here's the most important part. Rest is where you reconnect with yourself. Without rest, your identity becomes tangled in what you do instead of who you are. So, how do you reclaim your rest? How do you protect your peace during the holidays? How do you keep work from bleeding into every moment? You define done, not just in theory, not in vague goals, not in unrealistic expectations, but clearly, daily, practically. You define what is essential today, what can wait until tomorrow, what is simply not urgent, what is no longer yours to carry, what you will stop doing, when you will stop working. Defining done is how you reclaim your life. And it's even more important during the holidays because the holidays are not just a season of celebration, they are a season of reset, a reset of pace, a reset of priorities, a reset of presence, a reset of how you show up for yourself, a reset of how you show up for the people you love. You cannot enjoy the holidays if you don't know how to stop. You cannot enjoy your life if your mind never gets to put the work down. The holidays are your moment to breathe if you let yourself. But to let yourself rest, you have to define what done looks like. And once you do, something beautiful begins to happen. Your nervous system calms, your body loosens, your shoulders drop, your mind quiets, your guilt fades, your joy returns, because now your soul has permission to rest. There is a moment during the holidays. Maybe it's quiet, maybe it's loud, maybe it happens in a crowded room, maybe it happens when you're finally alone, when you suddenly become aware of time, not the rushing kind, not the overwhelming kind, but the sacred kind, the kind of time you can't buy back, the kind of time you won't get again, the kind of time that one day you'll wish you had slowed down enough to feel. And in that moment, something inside you whispers, I don't want to miss my own life, because you can hit every goal and still miss the moments. You can answer every email and still miss the memories. You can complete every task and still lose the time. You can build the success and still miss the people it was meant to bless. You can be present everywhere except where it actually matters. This is why defining done matters so much, especially during the holidays, because without a stopping point, you don't just lose energy. You lose your life in the process. You deserve to slow down. You deserve to receive the season. You deserve to feel the warmth. You deserve to be held by the moment. You deserve to enjoy the people in front of you. You deserve to be a full participant in your own joy. But joy requires availability, and availability requires boundaries, and boundaries require definition. So let's define done in a way your soul can trust. Done does not mean everything finished. Done does not mean zero tasks left. Done does not mean perfect productivity. Done does not mean exhaustion. Done simply means I did what I could today, and that is enough. Enough is not a number. Enough is not a metric. Enough is not perfection. Enough is not everything. Enough is the moment you choose peace over pressure. Enough is the moment you stop because stopping honors you. Enough is the moment you decide presence matters more than productivity. Enough is when you decide today can end. And here's what happens when you define done. Your holidays stop feeling rushed. Your mind stops running laps around your life. Your body stops bracing for the next task. Your spirit finally exhales. You start to taste your food again. You start to hear the laughter again. You start to see the small details again. You start to feel like yourself again because you're finally here. Not distracted, not overwhelmed, not pulled in every direction, just here, fully, completely, beautifully here. And that presence, that's what people remember. That's what your family feels. That's what your friends notice. That's what your future self will thank you for. No one will remember how many tasks you completed, but they will absolutely remember how you made them feel. And you will remember how you allowed yourself to finally feel. Remember this: the holidays don't need you to be productive, they need you to be present. Your life doesn't need you to do more, it needs you to be here for what matters. Your future doesn't need you to be perfect, it needs you to be whole. And wholeness requires rest, rest requires boundaries, boundaries require clarity. Clarity requires defining done. It's time to stop carrying the world on your shoulders. It's time to stop believing your worth is measured by your work. It's time to stop delaying peace until everything is finished. Everything will never be finished, but you can still choose peace now. So, this holiday season, choose differently. Choose to define what done means. Choose to allow yourself to rest. Choose to participate in your own joy. Choose to be present in the moments your heart will replay years from now. Choose you. Choose peace. Choose now, because this moment will not wait for you to be done. This moment wants you as you are now. And the most beautiful part, once you learn how to define done, you stop chasing your life and finally start living it.